before we take complete orders and ends of government.
Yo! Today is October 7, 2022. Welcome to Simply Bitcoin. We're your number one source for the peaceful Bitcoin revolution. We cover the breaking news, culture, memetic warfare. We show you why only Bitcoin can give you true financial sovereignty. And when we say that, we obviously mean freedom. Welcome to the Friday special. We are live streaming from the floor of Scott's legendary, the mining conference. Well, he changed it. Now it's just the mining conference. I want to give a special shout out to Scott. He is the organizer. Welcome to the show, man.
Thank you, man. It's great to be here. Great to be here. Yeah, it's come together nicely, and we're just having a great time at the mining conference here in Round Rock, Texas.
Yeah, this is definitely is a celebration. You get to meet a lot of people from the industry that you would never regularly see. I spoke to some of the people at Bitmain, spoke to people at What's Miner. All the major manufacturers are here. If you're interested in hosting, it's also a good place to be. Also, want to give a special shout out to my friend Tucson, the spin master from bowling last night. Kaboom Rex. How you doing, Tucson?
Doing pretty good. As you can see, I'm drinking a Red Bull. And if you're not working towards hypertension in this bear market, you're not building hard enough.
That's some wisdom that he dropped. And of course, Tom, how you doing, Tom? Welcome to Simply Bitcoin.
Doing great. Thanks for having me on. Great to see some familiar faces and meet some new people. So
it's going to be a great show, guys. We're going to change it up a little bit. We're going to take advantage of the fact that we have all these awesome panelists on the show today. We're going to definitely going to scoop into mining. I've had private conversations with Tucson. I've had private conversations with Alex. I've had private conversations with Scott. So just some interesting topics that we could definitely bring up today that I feel like you guys would find valuable. But anyways, Opti Culture, we're doing interviews.
We're doing interviews. My job is easy today. So, yeah, guys, I'm having a blast out here. Me and Nico dominated bowling last night. Ate like too many burgers. Not doing the best on my diet over here, but it's still a fun time.
Throw it hot. Throw it hot. Bowling, just for anyone who hasn't done it before, just throw the ball hard. It works. Anyways, let's start the show. Number time. Brought to you by NODL. At this point, you should be running your own Bitcoin node. If you don't use your own Bitcoin node, you're trusting someone else's. Run your own version of Bitcoin Core, the Lightning Network, Whirlpool, and Dojo, all from the comfort of your own home. And if you're a digital nomad, you have absolutely no excuse because now you can run a NODL through a virtual private server. Visit nodl.eu today. All right, at the time of recording, the Bitcoin price is 19,570 sats per dollar, also known as Moscow time for now. 5,110 block height, 757,551 reachable Bitcoin nodes, 14,641 blocks to the halving, 82,449 halving estimate April 21st, 2024. Total Lightning Network capacity 4,953, capacity value 96 million US dollars, realized monetary inflation 1.78%. Market capitalization 375 billion USD. Anyways, I wanted to take advantage of the numbers section to give a shout out to the legendary crypto couple. They came out with another awesome mematics video, and I want to play that for you guys today, and then we'll riff on it. Let's check it out. Shout out to the crypto couple, and we got a Viking behind stage.
Hello, 19-my-old friend.
Bitcoin fell back to $19,000.
I've come to stack some sats again, because the chance is often fleeting, and we know the Fed will start easing, and the vision of sound money and human gains still remains, enforced without state violence. Down the rabbit hole I fell, learning things they'll never tell, about how money's truly broken. So many truths were left unspoken. Then my eyes were opened by the flash of an orange light that's worth the fight.
to be sent directly from one party to another.
Learning all while stacking. People spreading hope while.
Dude. They're fucking great. They're fucking amazing. Holy shit. That was Beatles, right? They
No, that's Simon and Garfunkel, right?
Is it? I don't know. We're definitely gonna get smashed.
Some old band.
Some old man.
Oh god.
All right, that came from Scott. That didn't come from Nico. Just for the record.
Definitely Simon and Garfunkel.
Yeah, that's Sound of Silence, right? Simon and Garfunkel parody. Nico doesn't know anything about anything when it comes to music, so
Dude,
anyways, before we get into just making fun of Nico, I as much as everyone calls what they're doing, cringe, I still believe that they're spreading that signal. And this is
cringe.
the stuff.
Who the hell says that's
dude,
cringe,
on
bro?
Twitter, a lot of people be talking that smack, and
Dude.
I think they're killing it. Everything they're doing just gets better. Their production value just continues to get better. They're getting better at the parodies, and this is what happens for mass adoption, guys. Like having these little skits. This is how you sink into the culture, and you tell people the signal while maintaining all the sauce. Anyways, Nico, you jump in.
Yeah, dude. First of all, Crypto Couple, shout out to them. Absolute legends. Freaking bro, amazing memetics, man. Amazing memetics. They're some of the best. Getting the message out there. One of the most effective ways. And reason memes are so effective, right? Is first of all, they have to have a common denominator, which is the truth. If they don't have that common denominator, then it's not going to go viral. People are not going to understand that common language. That's number one. Number two is make people laugh, right? There's a lot of heavy crap that we have to deal with. This is a separation of money and state after all. So, at least they're talking about dark topics, but in a light heart. And I think that's why it's so effective. And it's not only me saying that, the free market is saying that as well. Look at the amount of views that they're getting. Look at the amount of traction, engagement. I think Sailor retweeted them the other day, right? So, it speaks for itself, the effectiveness of Crypto Couples memetics, right? So anyway, Scott, what you heard that, right? That was nice.
Yeah, man. I like it. There is something to be said about, the production quality these days. I think people actually tend to like stuff that's a little bit more rough, so I hope it doesn't get too refined.
I like that. Wow, this is dropping some wisdom. Anyways, Tucson, don't forget to pick up the mic. What are your thoughts on the Crypto Couple?
Love it. I think culture, parodies, music is very underappreciated. It's something that's incredibly important for moving people. People understand things from different mediums, and stuff like that's pretty awesome.
Absolutely. Kaboom Rex. Tom, what are your thoughts, man?
Yeah, I love it, man. I think people engage with stories, and that's kind of something that they're kind of representing every time they drop some new content. So really appreciate it.
Absolutely, 100%. Opti, is it time?
It's time.
All right, guys, let's get to the news. Let's do it.
The Daily News.
Brought to you by Bitbox 2 Bitcoin Only Edition, a hardware wallet by Shift Crypto. Crypto like cryptography. It's secure, it's open source, and it's so easy your mom can set it up. Self-custody is the revolution, and the Bitbox makes it simple. Do not leave your Bitcoin on an exchange. Order a Bitbox today.
All right, guys, I'm going to make this short because I really want to take advantage of the fact that we have some awesome guests, but I do have to cover this. This was the original title for the thumbnail, but as guests came in, right, obviously you have a change of plans, but we needed a contingency. So this is the original title, so I'm going to address it. We're going to talk about this today, and we have an awesome panel to kind of riff on. So for anyone that doesn't know, Celsius disclosed names and transaction history of all users during bankruptcy. Any wallet that interacted with Celsius is now publicly linked to government ID. And here are some of the bullet points. court filings totaled 14,000 pages. Data includes names, trading history, transaction times, and amounts. This data can be combined with on-chain data to connect self-custody wallets with any Celsius user that interacted with them. Celsius asked for the names of its users to be hidden from the court filings, but the judge refused, saying that it is a common requirement for bankruptcy cases. Users are now at significant risk of theft and extortion. Right. And we had some predominant Bitcoiners that were signed up to Celsius. It was like Vlad, right? Vlad admitted that he was on there as well. And this is Matt Odell's, thinking on this. He said, today is not a good day. The fact that most Bitcoin services are storing growing list of Bitcoiners and our transaction history puts us all at risk. And I agree. And I think this is one of the unintended consequences of KYC. You see KYC being pushed, tremendously, and all the benefits of it, but the downsides of it is never talked about. It's never talked about, right? The dangers of it, right? And it wasn't only that, right? Equifax had a crazy leak as well. And there's so many leaks that you look throughout the last 5-6 years of very personal information. But every time, more KYC and more AML is pushed by regulators, and, Bitcoin exchanges are forced to comply, or else they're going to be driven out of business. It's never, the downsides are never talked about, right? The downsides of that system is never talked about. One of the awesome things about Bitcoin is the anonymity. I don't need to know someone's personal information and who they are, what their name is, to pay them, right? If they offer me free good work, right? I do this all the time. When I'm like, hey, I need help with the thumbnail, I hire a random pleb, I pay them directly. Half the time, I don't even know who their name is, who they are, but it doesn't matter. I don't need to. I'm just paying them for their work, right? And I believe that in itself is going to connect the world, the likes of which we've never seen before. And it's going to create opportunities for people in developing countries where they had no opportunities before, right? Because there was no way to pay them, right? You're going to pay someone through PayPal and that person's in Nigeria? No, that doesn't work, right? Bitcoin allows that, right? So again, I think this is just another example of how trying to implement the legacy system on top of the new system has unintended consequences, and it's actually potentially could put people in physical danger. Opti, what are your thoughts on this?
Well, this Celsius, what's the guy's name? Alex Mashinsky. This debacle just keeps getting worse and worse. And I mean, dude, the fact that the court documents just docs all their information in there, and the judge just says nah, this is all going in there, man. Absolutely. I want to say an embarrassment, but this, I guess, this is the law and this is what you got to do. And then just to put a little personal touch on it, there was a piano bar here, and the piano player was talking about him being on Celsius and him getting wrecked. So unfortunate now that I guess all his information is out there, and it's just, further testament to the idea of everything is like a honeypot with your information here. And try to do your best to avoid what the KYC, but don't break the laws or whatever. Not Bitcoin. Hold on. Bitcoin that you can get without signing up is nice.
Yeah. So I mean, look, you got to talk about it, right? The difference between non-KYC Bitcoin, KYC Bitcoin. One of the best ways for non-KYC, by the way, is Bitcoin mining. And if you want to know more about it, you should have to come to the mining conference next year. But look, so think about it, right? One of the best ways is mining Bitcoin. Another is peer-to-peer exchanges. The problem is that software is usually very heavy, and you usually tend to pay a heavy premium, right? If you're using BISC, what a lot of people do in developing countries and overseas is they have these massive Telegram chats, and it's all peer-to-peer, right? You're exchanging Bitcoin peer-to-peer for whatever currency they're exchanging it for on the ground. That's usually how it works. But it sucks because major Bitcoin businesses, major Bitcoin exchanges, if they don't want to be put in jail or driven out of business, they have to implement KYC. They're coerced to doing so. To the fact that they take this so seriously that they made an example of Arthur Hayes, man, the founder of BitMEX, because he didn't implement sufficient KYC and AML. Right. So it puts Bitcoin exchanges in a terrible position, because it's almost as if they have to monitor for the government. It's like they become an extension for the government. Right. Which is terrible as well, man. I think the important discussion, right, should be what are the benefits of KYC and AML? We had a KYC and AML expert on the show.
None.
right? We had he went through the data. It was like 0.1% of criminal proceeds are recovered because of the KYC and AML system. I would like to make the argument that KYC and AML is really a system of control, right? It's about controlling people. What are the actual, benefits of stopping crime, right? Are we gaining more from having these systems than what we're losing, right? And I think that's a really important question or discussion to have. And I think more people should do research on that. And we've actually had, KYC AML experts on the show, and it comes from their mouths. Obviously we're biased because we're Bitcoiners, but it says like, look, this system does not work, right? And that was the episode with Dr. Ron Paul, not the politician, by the way. So yeah. Anyways, Scott, what are your thoughts on this Celsius debacle? What are your thoughts on Mashinsky pulling out $10 million 2 months or a month before the collapse?
Ouch. Yeah. Maybe he knew something. I don't know. But yeah, no, you're saying earlier, about KYC and the Piano Man. But it's just awesome, being here at this conference, at the mining conference. We were able to spread that Bitcoin love, and we were able to actually give the Piano Man some Bitcoin. It was his first Bitcoin transaction. Unfortunately, it was on a KYC wallet, but hey, we're getting the word out there.
Absolutely. All right, Tucson, the Spin Master.
Yeah, I think it's important. Like these people like to frame these conversations in ways where it's really hard to argue against because it's in bad faith. Like, we're talking about how KYC has no positive impacts and is actually a detriment to everybody, having to go through it. And so, I like to do little things. I don't refer to it as non KYC, but I refer to it as ethical Bitcoin. I think stuff like that's important. You want to go about things and be treated unethically, or do you want to start looking at ethical ways to operate? And it's just, it's crazy. It's about control. It's about like really doing you a disservice. It's about putting you in dangerous situations where you're at risk. Like, it happens over and over again. Every time your personal info is collected, it's going to be leaked eventually. I mean, just little things. Like, I remember I got a bunch of data leaked just by swiping a debit card at Target. And that's pretty crazy, to think about. And when you're utilizing Bitcoin, it's not like that. And like the big thing is like, we talk about, these guys talk about self-custody quite a bit. They talk about, ethical Bitcoin quite a bit. They talk about the dangers of KYC. Like, markets are the most powerful thing. And I think people have this idea that you need KYC, you need these institutions for the price to pump. And I know a lot of people are really worried about that, but I don't think that's necessarily true. Because why is Bitcoin around? It's because there's a market for it. It's because fiat is failing. People are looking to escape this stupid system. As these institutions and governments and central banks continue to do this nonsense, people are going to flee. And that's going to pump the price, ultimately. And so I don't think we have to compromise and just accept, being abused by these people. So, yeah.
Yeah, 100%. I think that was beautifully put. Tom, what are your thoughts on this Celsius debacle, the collapse of Celsius? And then not only did Celsius users get screwed in two ways, right? They got their funds frozen, and now they got their information docs. And it just came out recently this week that the CEO was pulling out money before the freezes happened. Dude, I think that's like triple F'd.
Yeah.
It's triple F'd.
It sucks, man. I know multiple people personally who were affected by Celsius. Like, I, fortunately wasn't, but it, that kind of stuff sucks. And I think on the whole, AML, KYC kind of pro con thing, like, I think for me, you always have to compare things in terms of trade-offs, right? It's like whatever the stated pros are, we got to look at the other side and see like, okay, well, with that comes things like this, data leaks. I mean, who knows the countless amount of, other information that's been out there and things like that. I got an email from, I think it was U-Haul I rented like 3 years ago, that all my stuff got leaked because I, rented a U-Haul and had to give them my info. And, obviously, like, those are hard problems to solve, but like, I think the one benefit, if I had to frame it this way, is like, I think the market's learning, right? And I think the only thing we can rely on is like, stuff like this continue to happen, the market will learn, the pros, the cons, and the trade-offs. So that's, one way I can look at it and maybe put a silver lining on it. So
yeah, and also I think it gives people in developing countries this massive advantage, because they don't have, like, we use regulated exchanges in the West because out of convenience, right? That's the reason that people use it here, right? And because those exchanges are business, if they want to stay in business, they're kind of coerced into implementing these systems, right? Whereas in developing countries, they don't have those options, because the actual rails, the things that are necessary to create those exchanges, they don't exist in those countries. So the vast majority of people transact Bitcoin peer-to-peer through Telegram groups, through WhatsApp groups, right? That's major. And over there in Venezuela, that's what I hear happens as well, right? So and those groups, like, how they gonna force them to implement these systems of KYC and AML, right? So it's like a whole it doesn't make sense, man. And I think this is a really important discussion that we need to have, especially in the West, especially in developed countries. And that actually might, to add to what Tom was saying, that actually might put us at a competitive disadvantage because of all the red tape compared to developing countries that don't even have these systems in place, right? So I don't know. I think these are really important conversations to have. I know for a fact more examples of more examples of the unintended consequences of AML and KYC are going to continue to pop up as years to come. And hopefully there's enough attention. Hopefully there's enough knowledge in the public, which inevitably forces policymakers to have these types of discussions. I would love for what we just discussed to be bring up in a Senate committee. I would love for it to be on record, right? And that needs to happen, right? It can't just be a one-way road of KYC and AML is the end all be all. We need it or else the world will burn down. We also need to talk about the downsides as well. And I think that's a really important discussion to have. Anyways, I'm really looking for the culture. We're going to have some awesome interviews with our panelists today. Let's check it out.
The Daily Culture.
Brought to you by SwanBitcoin.com. Swan is the best way to build your Bitcoin stack with automated Bitcoin savings plans and instant purchases, serving clients of any size from $10 to $10 million. We love Swan because they incentivize self-custody and dollar cost averaging. What are you waiting for? Visit SwanBitcoin.com today. All right, guys, before we get to the culture, speaking of conferences, also check out Pacific Bitcoin. It's going to be the largest Bitcoin conference on the West Coast. It's November 10th through the 11th in sunny Los Angeles, California. Speaker list includes the Chad Michael Saylor, Lynn Alden, Corey Clipson, CJ Wilson, Jeff Booth, Robert Breedlove, Pierre Richard, Mark Moss, Guy Swan, Preston Piss, Dr. Jeff Ross, Nico and Opti, Greg Foss as well. We're going to be doing a live Simply Bitcoin from the Pacific Bitcoin Conference. You can take advantage of the promo code SIMPLY to get a 20% discount on your Pacific Bitcoin tickets. First, I'm going to pass it on to Scott. Scott, I've actually been thinking about this because I knew you were going to come on the show today. And you've been in the industry for a while. What has changed, right? How much bigger has it gotten compared to when you got in? What do you think the biggest differences are?
Yeah, no, it's crazy. I've been in this industry for about 5 years. One thing I've seen is it's starting to professionalize. It is still the Wild West, but there's more institutions coming. Everybody says that. But yeah, I think that's really one of the big things is there's not a whole lot of standards in this industry, and so we're kind of just winging it, by the seat of our pants a lot of the times. And so at a conference like this, or even at like Pacific Bitcoin, it's just opportunities to spread the word and to teach people, how to do this stuff. So I like it.
So you said something really interesting, right? Which is you got into the industry 5 years ago. Fast forward, now you're throwing mining conferences, right? So holy crap. Did you have any experience in the field whatsoever, or were you learning everything as you went?
Yeah, probably just learning as I go, I think. Yeah. I got into the industry in the first place because, I used to do digital marketing. I came across this one website that was really crappy. And I said, hey, I think I can help them. So I reached out to them. They happened to be an ASIC miner manufacturer. One thing led to another. I kept on helping them with other things. Because of that, I learned about the Bitcoin mining industry because they were making Bitcoin miners. And when Bitcoin kind of went belly up in 2017, 2018, I just reinvented myself and said, hey, you know, I've learned too much about this industry. I don't want it to go to waste. So why not just use my talents for the mining industry? So I just kind of said, all right, you know, I'm going to buy equipment. I'm going to sell miners. I'm going to help people to, you know, do that matchmaking for people. And I got good at it. You know, kind of like Kaboom Rex over there as well. And eventually I said, hey, you know, we need to take this one step further. And there needed to be a conference. So I started a conference. I knew all the people that were buying miners, selling miners, providing power, providing, you know, transformers, different services, products to the industry. So I figured, hey, let's bring it all together.
And I think, you know, and that message is so powerful, right? And, you know, I know Tucson before he was at Kaboom Racks. And Scott, we just recently met. We've been getting acquainted. The opportunity is just insane, right? You know, and the turnover, right? You said 5 years ago, right? For me, it was six. I'm on year 6 for Tucson, right? I met him when he was doing his podcast, right? The opportunity in this field is insane, and I think that, you know, the background right now, the live conference is a testament to how quick things could happen in a short period of time. This industry is full of opportunities, and whether it's at Pacific Bitcoin or the mining conference, this is the place to be if you want to work in the industry and if you want to know things about Bitcoin or Bitcoin mining that you didn't know before. Anyways, I'm going to pass it on to Tucson. So Tucson, we were at a burger bar yesterday and we were eating burgers, and we went bowling there that night. I didn't know we were going to end up there again. And you were actually talking to me about something really fascinating. You said, Nico, the energy prices are going to stay where they are, right? And for anyone who doesn't know, a good Bitcoin mining price is ideal is anywhere between 2 to 3 cents. Usually people get between 5 and 6, and hosters usually offer between 7 and 8, right? And you say that that's going to continue to become more expensive. Why is that? Is that due to government policy? What's going on? Because I think a lot of miners are hoping that that prices are going to go back down again. And you made the case that that isn't the case at all. Why do you believe that?
Yeah, I mean, we're watching what's happening. I mean, there's a lot of geopolitical stuff going on right now. There's people blowing up pipelines in Europe. There's a lot of sanctions going on. There's a lot of, you know, anti-oil and gas stuff. There's a lot of deployment of unreliable energy sources for the sake of memes or whatever. Like, yeah, but yeah, I mean, it's a lot of stuff coming together, and then we're also in a very inflationary environment. Like the dollar's going away. Everything priced in the dollar. Yeah, I mean, there's no dollar menu at McDonald's anymore. What like that's a good you know, barometer for what's going on right now. So energy prices are going to go up, and it's going to get harder and harder to, you know, find good rates. Like 2 to 3 cents is almost non-existent right now. 4 to 5 cents is almost non-existent right now. I mean, if you're, you know, a retail guy buying 5, 10, 15 miners to host, like 9 cents is a good rate. So that's what I think is going on. I mean, it is rough out there, and we're going to see what happens.
So I'm going to pass it on to Tom. Tom, we got a chance to talk yesterday at the bowling alley as well. And you were telling me about your new, what you were launching, your new site, Hash Branch, right?
Yeah.
Could you tell a little bit to the people what that is? Why should they care, et cetera, et cetera?
Absolutely, yeah. So Hash Branch is a listing, review, and marketplace service for North American Bitcoin miner hosting companies. We basically help these hosting companies that are popping up everywhere, you know, put their name out there, put their contract, their terms, like what sort of things they're looking for, and then we try to find them quality customers, right, by just kind of opening it up, and then on the other side, letting customers come to the site. You can search, sort, filter, and basically narrow down what hosting options are out there, and then connect directly. So we're kind of trying to build some of the technologies that I think are needed in the space, and just connecting people to each other and letting them do business, and letting the market kind of dictate where terms go and where contracts go and where prices go and things like that. So yeah, we launched about 6 weeks ago and have had some awesome growth, kind of positively unexpected. I think we're at about 20 of the 50 states right now. We have hosting companies all over, different sizes. Honestly, one of the biggest things I'm starting to learn is like, man, there's a lot of smart people, building right now, which, outside looking in, you might think, oh man, Bitcoin's dead, all these things. But I just laugh because I'm, busier than ever, talking to some really interesting people doing some really great work on the mining side. So,
Yeah. So it's interesting. So you are building a site to connect people to hosting companies. How is this different than Compass, for example? And what are your thoughts on what happened with Compass?
Yeah, so the main difference I would say is that we're not really trying to own the entire customer relationship and make it one-sided, right? We're really trying to just connect people in the most efficient way and build kind of tools and services on top of that to kind of make the market more efficient, right? So when you come to Hash Branch, you can look at the list of the actual operators that you're going to be working with, right? We built in reviews so you can see what other people are saying, about these services and things like that. So we're trying to bring transparency to the market and just like let the best competitive terms win. And I think what's interesting is like there's not one size fits all, right? Like there's all sorts of trade-offs. I mentioned that earlier that people make, and some people might be willing to pay a little bit more for different terms, right? And that's really cool to see. So yeah, I think on the Compass side, and I think there's some other players that have faced some similar issues. It's like when your business model's tied to a lot of counterparty risk, and you're kind of hiding maybe who you're hosting with, and you're maybe owning the entire relationship. I think that works in certain scenarios, but the downside is like anything that happens on the hosting side, it kind of is a reflection of your business because you're owning the entire relationship. Obviously, there's different ways to handle that, and I think people have made different decisions. But we're not trying to kind of gobble up the entire thing. We're trying to basically build the best way for people to connect. And I think it's really needed because, started with hosting, but, I've had, meeting Alex and stuff, like there's tons of people in the repair side that are interested in stuff like this. And I think just opening it up for the players to communicate and transact and do business with each other and trust each other. Yeah, we've seen a lot of success. So
Awesome. Congratulations. Awesome. I actually checked out the site yesterday. You were showing me on your phone. It's super, super cool. And I think a lot of people are going to appreciate that. Going to go back to Tucson. Tucson, I've known you for a long time. I've known you for when you started, I think it was called the Toxic Airwaves. And I saw you hustling. Then, you landed the job at Kaboom Racks. I want to talk a little bit about hope, right? And Bitcoin. And I think that's what Bitcoin really does. It gives people hope and opportunity. And eventually I'm going to ask this question to Scott. Tell me how you ended up in the mining industry, why the mining industry. Is this something that you wanted to end up working before? And if you can go back in time and talk to Tucson whenever you got into Bitcoin, what would you tell him? What would you do differently?
If I went back, I'd say don't shitcoin. Did that for a little bit, not very long. I got the use case of Bitcoin pretty quick when I read the Bitcoin standard, heard about time preference. But yeah, I just stumbled into mining. I live in Arizona. Kaboom Racks headquarters are in Arizona. I was looking at working at a Bitcoin related company. I had no experience with mining whatsoever. And I had been working in social work for 7 years, and I just got burnt out. I'm like, I'm not helping anybody until we fix the money. People are going to continue to get sicker and sicker. And so it's like, if a bunch of people in our society are getting poisoned, like the answer isn't to go and to work at hospitals to help treat people for getting poisoned. It's to go figure out what the poison is and eliminate
Wait, hold on a second. What do you mean poison? Like, is that it? So, I always blame it on fiat, right? As Greg Foster told me, no, it was Tomer. Tomer's like, you said that 10 times. You're always blaming it on fiat. Is the poison due to broken money, broken world?
Yeah, I mean, it's a big part of it for sure. I mean, it's there's always going to be sick people. There's always going to be broken families. But when you look at people getting wrecked by our financial system, by these stupid speculative saving mechanisms that are not money, by being unable to build equity in their own lives by these education systems that, you know, are teaching people how to be, you know, have no self-confidence and just be, you know, low self-worth, like all of it coming together, most of it being facilitated and only existing because of fiat and the ability to centrally control things. As a result of that, it's a real big problem. And it's only going to continue. Like, I mean, if you look at what's happening right now, how does this get better without going and fixing the money? It doesn't. But yeah, so I stumbled into Bitcoin mining and became obsessed. You know, to work in social work, you kind of have to be a masochist. So I feel like I was predisposed. Like, Bitcoin mining is really painful. The industry is wide open. There's a lot of, you know, different opportunities and money to be made here. I mean, you don't have to just mine yourself. I mine myself a little bit, but there's so much room to grow. Like Scott's talking about the industry maturing. Like, we need so much in this industry. There needs to be technical data published. There needs to be stuff like Tom's doing, which I'm so bullish on. I'm very, very happy about that and happy to support him as much as I can. Yeah, I mean, it's not like, you know, if you go on Bitcoiner jobs, you're going to see all these jobs for devs pretty much. And like, the answer isn't necessarily learn to code. It's go identify whatever the issue is and come up with a solution for it.
Wow, that was inspiring. I love that answer. I'm gonna go back. You know what it is? It's because he has experience. He's done a podcast before. He gets it. Anyways, back to Scott. Scott, clearly successful entrepreneur. What you want to add to what Tucson was saying, that message, right? And I want to make this kind of the theme, right? This message of hope, tremendous opportunity in the Bitcoin space, in the mining space. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, no, I think what he says, you know, it's resounding in my mind right now. You know, the cryptocurrency market, it's obviously very volatile.
No, Bitcoin
is volatile. And a lot of times our emotions are tied into that. You know, when price goes up, price goes down. And you know, even for myself personally, I've struggled in the past with, you know, my identity, who I am, and I've always tied that into, you know, how hard I work or how successful my company is or isn't. And you know, so there's ups and downs. So I hear what he's saying about, you know, the mining industry being difficult, and also social work being difficult. I mean, geez, the experience there, I think there's definitely some parallels.
Scott, you're a masochist for sure.
Yeah, I let him bully me all the time. But no, you know, I think what we're building here is an ecosystem to help people to be successful and to you know, wait out those low times together. Yeah, so you know, we're bringing, like he said, technicians together, service providers, people that have products for the mining industry, and it's not just about having fun, getting together and partying, but it's about supporting each other, and you know, hopefully we can accomplish that together here.
So where do you see the industry 5 years from now? You were talking about there's a bunch of things that needs to be done. Why are you saying that? Why are you saying that mining is difficult? I want to know.
It shouldn't be difficult. No, one of my previous business partners, he was very kind of down in the dumps, and he said, mining should be easy. This shouldn't be this hard. You know, let's just plug some miners in. You know, get rid of all the other red tape. But it's not always that easy. It takes people. You know, you can't do this by yourself. You can't be an expert at everything. You know, you can get good at some things, but you always need other people to be there around you. I can't even remember the original question you asked me.
No, I mean, and I think that's one of the, you know, and I have someone in the chat, right, that said it, and he's like, how can I mine? And I think that's one of the most perplexing things. How would you recommend, if someone wanted to get into Bitcoin mining, how would you, obviously tell them to come to the mining conference, but that's the cheat sheet. If they're at home, or perhaps they don't have the privilege, you know, or they're not in the financial situation to afford a trip, right? How would you recommend someone They want to get into mining. Maybe they don't have a lot of money. What would you tell them?
Yeah. So there's ways to do that. Obviously you just gotta learn a little bit about Bitcoin, learn a little bit about the technology. Maybe just buy an old cheap miner, plug it in somewhere, and figure out how it works. How do you connect it to a pool? How do you make sure that pool is paying out to your own wallet? Very small steps. It doesn't have to cost you a lot. You don't have to go all in with $100,000 or something like day one. Very important. Yeah. Pass your decisions by your spouse, by your partner, by your friends. Don't try to hide stuff. And try to do it together as a team. Right. And then from there, like you said, there's online communities, there's conferences like this. So we also do something that's called a build a mine boot camp. Where it's a 5-day, you go on 2-3 hours every morning, and we just learn as a community together and ask questions with each other, and go through the process one step at a time of everything you need to know to get a farm up and running, basically like your first megawatt. And that's the most important thing. Everybody comes in with really big dreams and saying, I'm going to build a 100-megawatt site. And that's like hundreds of thousands of miners, millions and millions of dollars. But getting your first megawatt, or even just getting your first miner plugged in, that you just got to take baby steps.
Yeah. So let me ask you something. What are the forms of revenue for miners, right? Because it's not only mining. I think it's also selling machines at the right time, buying the machines at the right time.
Yep. Definitely the timing. So if you do invest in a miner, maybe when the price of Bitcoin is really high and also the price of the miners are very high, you could plug it in. You might make your money back over time, but it's not necessarily a lost cause. If you spent way too much on that miner, you might be able to make a little bit of your money back if you sell that miner on the secondary market to maybe upgrade to a newer, latest, greatest mining machine. But yeah, like they were saying, there's a lot of different things in this industry that people can make money with. And it's just a matter of figuring it out. There's a lot of opportunity out there right now.
So I'm going to ask this question to the entire panel, and feel free to pick up the microphone if you want to answer. How has it changed since the China ban? Obviously, we know for a fact that, a tremendous amount of miners moved from China. They distributed all over the world, but we know that a lot of them ended up in North America, right? How has the landscape changed? Is it more hopeful? Do you fear about, over concentration of the mining hash rate in the United States? What are your guys' thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I think the the obvious one is, like you said, North America has kind of gobbled up a lot of the hash rate, and we're kind of all at crazy all-time highs in terms of global hash rate, which I think is awesome. I think there's trade-offs. I think like what we learned was that, again, the market found out that certain geographies, certain political systems probably aren't going to be great long term. You might get darn near free electricity, but the risk is that overnight they shut you off, right? Where I think absolutely you don't want to have a concentration in one geography, but I think one of the great things about at least the US is that we're pretty federalized. We have a lot of different states doing different things, different policies here and there. So what one state decides, that doesn't really matter in most other states. I mean, everyone kind of can make their own decisions. And I think the cool thing I've seen is it's kind of been bottoms up, right? It's been very organic, people on the ground saying, hey, I can plug in an ASIC here. Hey, I can grab some power here. And I think that over the long term is going to be the best way to strengthen the network, is, bottoms up, distributed. And I think the US is kind of paving the way for that. So yeah.
Absolutely. So gonna have someone, and I actually want to get Scott's thoughts and opinion on this. And it was Denver Bitcoin. He claimed that immersion was over, and someone said, this is one of the comments from Sean, says the machines are loud space heaters. You want space that will allow this. Don't even think about it in an apartment. Immersion is an option, but costly. What do you think about mining Bitcoin immersion? For anyone that doesn't know, right, usually there's airflow, right? It's fans that control the heat, but you could also dump them in a form of liquid. I think it's like mineral oil or something.
Yep, a dielectric fluid. Yeah, so that's really one of the biggest barriers to entry as maybe a home miner with mining Bitcoin. They use very heat intensive energy intensive machines, and they're very loud, very hot. So if you can get over that barrier, it's a great thing. So some things that people are talking about here at the conference, there's exhibitors and speakers specifically talking about maybe how to reuse that heat to heat your home, and then also how to mitigate the problem of the noise. And immersion is definitely one of those things to look into for that, especially if people are going to be wanting to mine residentially, or in an apartment, or in your basement. Taking away the noise and finding a way to dissipate that heat using liquid cooling, it definitely makes sense. But like you said, it is costly, and but in the last few years, I've seen those prices come down. So you can buy a simple rack and a power cord and plug your miner in, and it can run off air. But there's associated issues that come with that, like your wife gets really mad, or your house gets way too hot. Yeah. So yeah. The price is coming down, though. People are figuring out the technology in order to make that cheaper and make it better, make it more efficient. And yeah, some of the actual manufacturers here, like Bitmain, MicroBT, and Canaan, they're all kind of secretly working on things in the background that I think we're going to see very soon that will make it easier. But yeah, I think just walking around this expo hall this week, you get some really great ideas on that.
Absolutely, and I could attest to that 100%.
Hey, Nico,
What's
excuse
up?
me. I want to ask Tucson a question because I saw your talk yesterday, and I thought it was very interesting at the end when you were telling everyone what your favorite ASIC was. So maybe could you rehash what you were saying on your favorite ASIC, or maybe just the idea of excuse me, guys, of more hash, like more hash power per terahash per. The higher the hash power coming out of the ASICs may not be the best move for most people.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, there's trade-offs for everything. So I think everybody wants to sell their product. I want to sell a product. I sell Bitcoin miners, but yeah, I mean, okay. I want to talk real quick. I'll get to that, but okay. So what Denver is referring to, so I don't know if you can see it behind us, but Bitmain has a water-cooled product. What's Miner has a water-cooled product here. Liquid cooling is better than air cooling. Air cooling presents problems. It's just not as efficient as liquid cooling, and so I think that's what he's referring to. But immersion is not going anywhere in the near future because there's air-cooled machines that can be converted and profitably mined in immersion. But yeah, kind of go back to your question, Optimus. Yeah, I mean, my favorite ASIC is the one that works for my situation. It's one that I can get for a good price. Oftentimes, the brand new unit is going to be way more expensive than an older unit, and it might not make sense to buy it just because it's that brand new thing. Like as miners, I think it's important to think about ending up with more Bitcoin, especially if you're looking to mine at home. And oftentimes, it doesn't make sense to mine at home. Oftentimes, it just doesn't make sense to mine in general. I mean, if you have higher power rates, it's exclusive. And, the goal is you want to price the machine in sats, estimate your revenue in sats, and ensure that you have more Bitcoin in the long run. But yeah, there's a bunch of different manufacturers. I think it's important to get one that has been out for a little bit. If you go and you buy first production runs, it's more likely to have issues.
So is this, if Denver Bitcoin was looking at you, what would you say to this? And he says, for our audio listeners, I'm telling ya, water cooled gonna make immersion just impractical. Immersion might survive the decade, but it won't thrive into the future. Any thoughts about that, Scott?
It really depends if the manufacturers start making these things from the very beginning, designed specifically for that. Right now everything's being retrofitted. So yeah, I think it could go either way. I'm not sure how well the manufacturers are actually listening to their customers. But yeah, we'll see.
We will see. We will see. You heard that, Denver?
Tucson, I see you picking up the mic, bro. What do you want to say?
Yeah, I mean, why are miners doing this? Miners do all sorts of. We're crazy people. We want to do things in all sorts of different, weird, unique ways. We have diverse use cases for mining, and the manufacturers make things, specific way. I think water cooling makes a lot of sense, and I'm very excited that this is being rolled out. I think there's massive benefits to it, but being miners, we're going to still want to do weird things. So yeah, I mean, I think it's fair, but water cooling provides its own set of headaches and issues. You need really.
You hear that, Denver?
Yeah.
Tucson, want to meet you outside. All right, guys.
Yeah, and it does need to be said that water cooling is different from liquid immersion. So yeah, they're whole other topic though.
Yeah, I think like it'll just be different technologies apply in different situations, right? It's just gonna more innovation. It's gonna be a mixed bag of what people want to use, where they want to use it, where they can get it, where they can deploy it. I mean, I think the more the better. So it's just like energy generation, right? There's not gonna be one size fits all. So.
And I just wanted to add to Scott's point, right? Immersion is when you actually dip the chips into a liquid. Water cooling is when you use the water on the outside of the chip to cool it down. And air cooling is when you use air, obviously. But anyways, guys, it's time for the meme review. Let's check it out.
The Daily Meme Review.
Brought to you by CipherSafe. Don't be that person that loses their Bitcoin seed due to fire damage, water damage, dog attacks. Back up your generational Bitcoin wealth on steel. And there's no better place to do it than the Cypher Grid by CipherSafe. And now check out their new Bitcoin art, the Bitcoin Rulux triangle, only on cyphersafe.io.
All right, guys, you already know the meme of the meme review. Tweets are the bullets and memes are the artillery out there in this information war. You guys are on the front lines. Continue to meme people, continue to get the calls of actions, continue to make the funnies because we need to spread this information. This first one, I don't think Stefan Livera was the first one, but this is the first one I saw this morning. It's a little savage for those people that got caught up in this mess, but it's a flag and it says Mark Safe from Celsius doxing today. So guys, we don't want to jump on people's pain. We don't want to kick a dead horse, but this is why we tell you guys to take self-custody and do not chase yield on these very scammy yield providing platforms. Anyway, this next one on one of our news yesterday, we covered the EU banning all Russian quote unquote crypto asset wallets. And then we got this meme. I'm pretty sure this was an old one that's been rehashed, but you got to put them out. You got to pull out those old memes from your very deep folder history in your phone. And it goes, the EU, how to stop Bitcoin, and an orange little Bitcoin. You can't. Laughing my ass off. This next one, we're going to continue to double down on this idea because it seems like the world is exploding around us. Dylan Leclerc, with the standard NPC party meme, they don't know the sovereign debt bubble is bursting. Yes, it seems like the world is unraveling by the seams as we speak. This next one is by Lightning Ventures, and I'm a fan of Lightning, and it's way better than Zelle, PayPal, and Venmo. But this is Usain Bolt just blowing out of the water, and he's the Lightning Network. And this is where we are in the story. We're just looking back at everyone else, and we have the best tools. So this next one is a continuation on all the things we tell you guys. Stay humble, stack sats, very psychedelic Bitcoin stars with Easter Island having laser eyes. So amazing, amazing. This next one, this one doesn't get me in trouble, but I think this is a good message. This from Rothmist. He goes, big banks ensure we stay in debt. Big pharma ensures we stay sick. Weapons manufacturers ensure we stay at war. Legacy media ensures we stay ignorant. Government ensures it's all legal. And voting ensures it will. The only vote that matters is opt with Bitcoin with your money and your feet. Bitcoin allows both of those. Guys, we need to continue to spread the signal. And then this last one, just to wrap it all up, this is by Norman Remit, and he goes, apparently I'm in a Bitcoin cult. So get in, loser. The Bitcoin cult is better than the fiat cult. Yes, you guys, all you fiat maxis out there are in a cult as well. And the Bitcoin cult is a lot better. You can't convince me otherwise. Anyways, my meme review score today is my empty Kaboom Racks coffee. It's only my second one. That's the score. I think I gave it yesterday, but this is my second coffee today. Not second coffee in general. Second coffee today.
But Kaboom Rex. Kaboom Rex. All right, I'm going to give it this mining conference VIP. Scott, do you have your medallion?
I don't have. No.
Scott has every ribbon put on his.
All of the flair.
All the flair. So I'm going to give it the VIP ribbon. And,
I give these memes one free drink to the Friday wrap party later tonight.
Scott has a money printer, and when I mean that, he has all the free drink tickets. He's like the Federal Reserve, but of tickets.
I heard.
Tucson?
Is my mic on? Okay, there we go. I heard that Scott's going to be leading karaoke later tonight.
Yep.
I heard that, yeah. Or was that the more highly educated Scott Oxford?
Oh, Scott Oxford.
I heard about that.
I feel, kind of ashamed right now because the score I'm going to give, I don't have it in hand, but there's these wonderful Scott Offered stickers floating around. I'm going to give it a Scott Offered sticker. Those are some pretty good memes.
Scott Offered sticker. I'm going to try to pull up. I know what you're talking about.
I think I have one in my backpack over here. I can pull out the little one. It's like right here. Yeah. And yeah, there we go.
I got it. I'm going to pull it up. I got you guys.
That's not the one with me in the spacesuit, though.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's a new one.
All right, Opti's taking too much time. Tom, while Opti finds it.
Can't find the damn sticker.
I got it right here.
There it is. He found it.
Yeah. Oh, there it is.
There it is. Okay. Wow. All right.
I'll give it a secret Kaboom Rack. I found on my back after bowling last night, after hanging out with this guy all night, but keep it on there for good luck.
Yeah,
so.
he puts stickers everywhere. Kaboom. Anyways, guys, we want to know if you agree with our scores, you disagree, let us know down in the comment section. Of course, make sure to join Simply Bitcoin's Telegram group. That's where you can link us Bitcoin memes review. You got to go to www.t.me/the Simply Bitcoin channel. 600 people in there already. You could join the party. It's going to be awesome. And check out Simply Bitcoin Unfiltered. It is the written version of this show. It's www.simplybitcoin.news. Anyways, Opti, I think we're running out of time today. Let's wrap it up, brother. I want to give a shout out to our clothing sponsor. Guys, check out representltd.com. Opti and I wear the merch every single day. This is decentralized merch. Opti, get up and show the back, bro. That's the peaceful. That's the peaceful revolution.
I'm a piece of meat over here.
Model it, bro. Model it. See that? There's the angel, the Bitcoin angel, only on representltd.com. You can take advantage of the promo code down below to get 10% off. Representltd.com.
Right, we do have some meme scores in here, Nico.
Yeah. I'm gonna get to that. All right, let's see what everybody is saying. All right, Opti, pull them up, and I will read them.
All right. Let's see.
Extemos gives the memes a Pacific Bitcoin ticket. Very nice. BTC Pins, I give the memes a pinata full of scorpions.
I don't know if I can pull this one up on YouTube for you, Nico. That might get us in trouble.
Yeah, definitely not that one. Mr. Robot, rate those one dancing Nico when he bowls multiple strikes. That's right. I was getting excited bowling those strikes. Anyways, next one is I give those memes Simply Bitcoin panel high five. Let's go, guys. Do it. Thanks, Diogenes. We will. Scott, you're leaving me hanging. Woohoo! High five. Oh, yeah. And okay. And also, Diogenes' new intro is gonna be introduced on Monday, so I'm really excited for that. I give them my tequila cooled S9. We don't approve of that. That might ruin the miner.
It's bullish.
Five guys, high five. The astrology matches up.
Wrong one.
All right. Planet Earth, give those memes some Friday night bubs. And last but not least, that's it. All right, we're wrapping up.
That's the one. Wait, there is one more.
All right, HODL Coin says, I give those memes weapons of mass destruction sponsored by the Fed. Very, very powerful. All right, guys, that was our show. That was the Simply Bitcoin Friday special live from the mining conference. We're going to continue the show exclusively on Twitter Spaces. I'm going to make laps around the conference while Opti holds it down. Oh, a little slip there. Hodls it down. And I'm going to try to get people from Bitmain, from WhatsMiner, from Luxor, and we're going to get their thoughts, opinions, and it should be a lot of fun. So definitely, if you're watching the live stream, go on Twitter, tune into the Simply Bitcoin Spaces that we're co-hosting with Swan Bitcoin. Check it out. You're not going to want to miss it. All right, love you all. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share the video. That's what YouTube likes the most. And we will see you on Monday. We're taking Saturday off because Nico's about to spontaneously explode due to traveling. And we'll see you on Monday for a brand new episode of Simply Bitcoin.
Which one's the best crypto asset? Well, Bitcoin's the best crypto asset. Okay. What's the second best? There is no second best.